Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious, we've got a bit lost, or you're someone who loves a tag. It is time for a tag video. I'm Chatty, welcome to my channel Chatty the Mad Chatter, where I'm going to be chatting away madly about the why haven't I read this book yet video tag thing. I've got my tea of tags, and I'm going to be back on randomizing because this is a well-known tag, so I can mix up the questions in a crazy way. But first of all, let me do my little gimmick. We're rolling continuously. It is one shot. I don't do editing, so good luck. Clink, 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 clink. Cheers. Let's embrace the chaos, but not the waffle. I am going to challenge myself to do this in under 30 minutes. There's 5 questions. It's going to be totally fine. So this book tag was created by Greg from @Bibliophile and was inspired by Crystal from Fibre Artsy Reads. And I will link all the people I mentioned in the description box down below. It's not up there, it's down there. I don't know why I'm doing that. And you can check out Greg's video, the original, and the video that inspired him. And I was so kindly tagged by Jolene from Bookworm Adventure Girl, and I will link her video in the description box as well, so you can check out her one. So let's go in. If I can grab a tag. So I have tagged question 5, the book owned for the longest time but not yet read. Here they are. I've got 3. Ta-da! So this book moved house with me, which means I've had it for a really long time. I moved into this house in 2020 December. Yes, in the height of lockdown, we managed to move house. Amazing. This is Galileo's Daughter, a drama of science and faith and love by Dava Sabel, and it is a non-fiction, telling the story of Galileo's relationship with his daughter, between belief in science, conviction, and the origins of modern science. So that sounds really cool. I think there's a lot of Renaissance stuff in here. I'm intrigued to read it, but it's very heavy. I have this for sentimental reasons. This originally belonged to the priest of my parish where my parents come from. It used to belong to him, and when he died, they put his book collection out and said to the parishioners, take a book. And I picked up this one. So it's one of those books that I'm not going to unhaul just because it's got sentimental reasons. He was a really lovely person, and he was the one who baptized me and gave me my first Holy Communion. So there we go. Next books I have, one is Borrowed. That is the Hollow Hills, the second book in the Mary Stuart Merlin trilogy, and this is my mum's, and I've had it in my house since January 2021. So over 2 years, whoopsies. And this is one of the first new books that I bought for myself when I started booktubing, although be it not officially. So this was another January 2021. It is a YA contemporary, let's call it a Doomsday by Katie Henry. I don't know why I've not read them. I just hadn't quite been in the mood for this one, I think, but I do want to read it. I really want to read it. I'm excited by it. It's got mental health rep. There's anxiety in here. I feel it's going to be really funny. I'm really excited for it. Hollow Hills, I want to keep reading with this series, but it just hasn't happened. It is like the next series that I'm prioritizing, but there's so many other books I'm also prioritizing that because this is just a me priority and not a readathon or a buddy read or anything like that priority, it goes down the list. So there's those. Next tag, we have number 5, which I've already read. Yay! We have number 3, which is a non-fiction book. Tag number 3. I need my notes because I forgot what I said. Brilliant. Yes. So I have 2 books I own to talk about and 1 book I don't own, which would be one of the reasons why I haven't read it yet. But it's been on my list for a long time, and that is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, and it is one of the books that I specifically have set myself. There's 4 non-fiction books I'm really interested in reading, and when I said I wanted to read at least 4 non-fiction books this year in my 2023 goals, this was one of them. I have actually read quite a bit of non-fiction this year, but not any of the books on my list. So All Boys Aren't Blue has been out since 2020 and I have been wanting to read it since then. I've heard so many really good things about it. It sounds amazing and I really want to pick it up. The books that I do own, one I started reading and it would have featured in some of my earliest videos. There's my bookmark. No, that's not even my bookmark. That's me tabbing it to encourage me to keep reading. There's my bookmark. There we go. I've read this bit. And I probably need to start from scratch because I've probably forgotten it all. And you know what? I'm just going to take the bookmarks out. I can't remember it because it was over a year ago. I started reading this in February 2022. So over a year, yeah, because we're in March. It's Bloody Brilliant Women by Kathy Newman. The Pioneers, Revolutionaries and Geniuses Your History Teacher Forgot to Mention. I want to read it. It's feminist history. I haven't done it because I didn't put it on a TBR. I put other books on there and I was like, I'll just read a bit at a time. Doesn't work. I need to read. It needs to be one of the books that I am reading. Bookmarks are out. It's going back on the list of books to read. The other book I really want to read is a book series by David Olusoga. The first one, it's Black and British. So the first one for adults, he wrote Black and British, A Forgotten History in 2016. My husband has Black and British, A Short Essential History, which is a YA version of Black and British, A Forgotten History. He's a teacher in a secondary school, hence why here's this one. This one I feel is probably a lot more accessible because it's shorter, it's got pictures, it's got headings. Look how easy it is to read. I should read this. I want to read this and then I want to read the adult one. There is also Black and British and Illustrated History, which I did get out the library and still didn't manage to read, which is a picture book, and that was published in 2022. So lots of options. Haven't read a single one, but as we own this one, it lives in our house and has done for a while. No excuses. Again, just haven't got round to it because there's so many books. Tag number 3. Well, no, next tag is this one, which is number 4, a genre book. So I'm a genre reader. I like a genre. I enjoy many. My favourite being, thank you. If you said fantasy, it's because you've been on this channel a while. If you've wildly guessed, I mean, clues on my bookshelves. What are you seeing? Fantasy. If you're visually impaired and can't see that and have never watched my videos before, lucky stab in the dark. But it's fantasy is my favourite genre. None of which should have been said because I'm waffling again. And I wasn't going to do that. Okay, so let's start with the fantasy. I'm going for a middle grade because I also love a middle grade. This is The Hatmakers by Tamsin Merchant. As you'll notice, it's hardback, which would hint I got it quite early on in its life because they stopped being available in hardback after a while, don't they? When was this one published? I'm going to guess around 2020, 2021. 2021, yeah. So it was published then. I've been really excited for it. My friend Vadania from Vadania Silverscribe loves it. She's also read The Mapmakers, the second one. I own The Mapmakers, haven't earned it because I'm not allowed to until I've read this one. I'm really excited to read it. I hear really good things. It is also beautiful. We have magical hat shop here. I believe we have a map in here. Yes, we have a map of, I believe, London. Ooh, this will probably be a good one for Kelli from Kelli Reads a Lot, who likes historical fiction fantasy. And I think this is historical fiction based. We don't have a date, but it's got a Victorian vibe to it. I believe they make something for the Queen, so I'm going to guess it's Victoria. But there's lots of magical maker things. The main character, Cordelia, lost her parents, I believe. It just sounds really magical, and I hear good things. And magical, it's middle grade. I want to read it. And it's also very beautiful. And we're going to go into mystery crime zone. This is kind of like crime, but like a cozy mystery, I feel, from what I know. It's very well known. It's Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. Still haven't read it. So excited by the premise. Hear amazing things everywhere you go. Incredibly popular. He's now got 3. 4th one due in September. Still haven't picked this up. Why? I think because it's the start of a series and I have so many series on the go and I'm scared. I think also it's a nice backup if I pull out some sort of read a crime book within my book games and I can pick this up. That's what I'm guessing is my reason for not picking it up. I should have picked it up, but there's so many books. There's just so many books. But I'm excited. I think it's really cool. Again, I've got it in hardback. I obviously had it a long time ago. Final one, it's not final one. The next one is a dystopia novel. It is The School of Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. I've had this for over a year now. This was one of my Mother's Day presents from my children. And it is a dystopia about being a good mum. I'm really selling this one, aren't I? So it's like having a bad day and then okay, yeah. So it's about perspective of kind of motherhood and people's judgment of motherhood within this dystopian world. I've heard good things, hence why I want to read it, but I haven't picked it up again. And I think it's one of those things. I think with dystopia, I need to be in the right mood for it. I think I'm feeling a little bit anxious about it, about how it could go. Not heard a huge amount, but what I have heard sounds good. I'm interested. I do want to read more dystopia. We'll see when I feel like picking it up. So I don't feel quite so bad about that one because I feel like I'm not sure. The next one is a historical fiction and it is The Mercies by Kieran Millward Hargrave. This one I have no excuse for. This one I picked out for a tea and taste and this won the tea and taste and just haven't read it. Haven't read it. I was going to read it in November and didn't. I didn't fit it onto my December TBR. Went into January, still didn't read it. We're now in spring and I'm not feeling so wintry. So the mood has left me. So this might wait until winter. But I really want to read it. I'm really excited about it. 16th century historical in very cold country. Scandinavia, top of the Scandinavia. Finland. Ireland at the top of Norway. I just saw Finland on the map and shouted Finland. Norway. Ireland at the top of Norway. Vardo. The island of Vardo, right at the top of Norway. Very cold. The menfolk all disappear in a sea tragedy. Women do all the work on the island. It's an island full of women. Someone thinks they're witches. Some clergy person goes to investigate. I feel it's very feminist. I also am intrigued by accusations of witchcraft when they're not true. So I really want to read it. Stupid seasonal mood reader and overambitious TBRs fail. But there we go. That's that one. Next one is... we're going for all the blue ones. It's number 1 and it's a classic book. So I have a range again. So the first one I don't own, which is, I think, a nice excuse as to why I've not read it until we remember it's a classic and it's always available and I can't believe you actually haven't read it. It's Charlotte's Web. I've never read Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, which was published in 1952. Chatty is short for Charlotte. It's got my name on the book cover. You would think that would make me want to pick it up. Well, the reason I haven't read it is because when I was a child, people told me someone died in it. And as a child, I did not like to read about sad books. The idea of a character dying was a big no for me. I didn't want to be sad, so I didn't pick it up. As a teenager, never got round to it. As an adult, never got round to it. Sat here, still not got round to it. It is on my list of children's classics in a pretty cover that I want to own. There are 2 different covers of it, and I'm torn between the 2 and don't know which one to go for. I'm hoping at one point to own it, but as of yet, I don't and haven't read it. So, oops. But I do feel that it's a book I should read. I feel now I'm able to cope with the fact that a character dies. I feel most people know, but I'm not telling you just in case it's a spoiler. Other books that I actually, well, again, they're in my house. I own one and I have seen the other on my husband's shelf and thought I'd like to read it. So we're going to go with that one first. So the one on my husband's shelf that I want to read because people where I really enjoy similar books to them, I really enjoy listening to them, really love that. So 2 booktubers are Kelli from Kelli Reads a Lot. She recently read this and said it's so good. And Olivia from Olivia Savannah has also read this, and to the point where she has then bought it in a pretty edition because it's one of her favourite classics. So if she's buying it in a pretty edition, it tells you that she loved it a lot. So this is Crime and Punishment. Did I already say that? It's Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Let's try that again. Dostoevsky. I'm pretty sure I've heard people say this name a lot. It doesn't sound like that. How do you say it? I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with names. Unless it's easily phonetically pronounceable, I struggle because I only speak English. I'm very bad at being a linguist. I'm not a linguist. I wish I was a linguist. That would be lovely. Stop waffling. Right. It's Crime and Punishment by that well-known Russian classic author. That one. Not the other one. Yeah, them. Great. It's in the description. I haven't read Crime and Punishment. It's been sat on my husband's shelf for a really long time. He's read it. I want to read more classics. This could be one I pick up. I don't know, but at some point I want to read it. The other one, it's a weird one for me to put on here because I have actually read it. I just haven't read this copy, and I haven't read for a while. So this is Emma by Jane Austen. Now, I have reread Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice and Mansfield Park and Persuasion many times because I owned them. Emma lived at my mum's house. I read it once, but it was in one of those, like, you buy the book for like £1. And I just didn't particularly like the copy, so I didn't bring it with me when I moved because I needed to save the shelf space. I've now just gone crazy, but that's fine. Emma, right, so I didn't have a copy of Emma, so I had the beautiful Waterstones. I was like, I want this copy, I want this book, look at it, how pretty it is, we love it, it's in crossbound, it's green, it's beautiful. I wanted this copy of Emma. And the pages, they're so soft. I want this copy of Emma. I got the copy of Emma. Was gonna read it for Jane Austen in July. Didn't read it. Was gonna read it. At another point, there was read-alongs of Jane Austen going on. There's always read-alongs of Jane Austen going on. Didn't read it. I have not picked up a Jane Austen and read it since I started doing BookTube, and I've been reading lots of new books. I haven't gone back to reread Jane Austen, apart from not Mansfield Park, the other one, Northanger Abbey. I did reread Northanger Abbey, but that's because I hadn't read that one for a long time and it came up on the TBR, so I did read that one. But I haven't read Emma and I really want to, but I think it's that I kind of really just want to get into rereading Jane Austen again, and I just haven't quite been in that mood. I really want to enjoy it, so I don't want it to feel like something I've got to do. I want it to be something that I really want to do without having to think about other books that I need to read or that I've put on there. So yeah, I want to read from this copy of Emma, and I haven't done, and I should have done, but I haven't. So there we go. Let's get to move on to the next tag, which is tag number 2, a fiction book, general fiction book. I have 2. So one I own is Queenie, by Candice Carty-Williams. So what I call this contemporary. I think some people call it general fiction. I don't know. But I'm saying Queenie for this one. I've had this for a while. I'm excited to read it. I haven't felt in the right mood to pick it up. I'm really interested in reading it. I hear really good things about Queenie. But I just haven't got around to picking it up yet. Haven't got around to it. But I do really want to. I also know that Kemi from Violet Pages has absolutely loved another book that Candice Carty-Williams has written, which I've totally forgotten. So I do really want to pick this one up and read it and experience her wonderful writing. I haven't done it. Another book is, the final book that I will be talking about is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkinson. Wilkerson? Yes, Charmaine Wilkerson. I heard so much good stuff about this last year and continuing into this year, and I still haven't picked it up and read it. It is available in libraries. I could pick it up from the library and read it. But again, there's just so many other books. I do really want to read it, but there's just so many, and I'm trying to read what's on my shelves. So that gives me a bit more of an excuse. But what doesn't is it was on one of the videos of which books do you really want to read, and I said that one. And it's true, I do. And I just haven't done it yet. I think it's also because I feel I'm really going to love it. It's a generational story. It sounds brilliant. I don't like the covers. I really don't like the covers. And when I know I want to have a book that I think I'm really going to love, I want it to be in a cover that I'm also excited about, because I also use my books as art, as you can see on the shelves. It makes me happy. So maybe I will just get it out the library. We will see. But that is, I haven't read it yet, and that's why. And that is the end of the tag, because the only thing left in the big cup of tea is tag people. Woohoo! So I think quite a lot of people have done this tag. So apologies if I name you and you've already done it. And I wrote my list of people I wanted to tag on a different piece of paper, and that piece of paper is gone. Man. Oh no, it's not. It's here. Found it. Okay. So I would like to tag some newbies. I'm going to tag Jim from the Born Again Reader. If you have not checked out Jim's channel, get over there. It is podcast style. He's got a really, I think, a really relaxing, articulate American voice. And I find it just really nice to listen to. You don't see his face on screen. It is podcast style. But he is so thorough with how he talks about books. I love hearing him talk about books that he's enjoyed and why he's enjoyed them and what he wants from them. It's really lovely to hear. So definitely go and check out Jim. He's got some really interesting videos. One about his rating system, which is amazing. So Jim, I feel this is a tag you can definitely do. I know there are some tags that you've been saying you kind of want to read a bit more or build up your reading first before you get onto this one. But this is perfect because it's about why you haven't read books. So there you go. You don't need to have read books to do this tag. Brilliant. I hope you have fun with it. I also want to tag booktuber that I've only recently subscribed to, and that is XO Jo. She reads a lot of fantasy, and I have found some of her reviews really hilarious, particularly her A Court of Thorns and Roses, because she was taking no prisoners and it was really funny. So I've just enjoyed the way she speaks about books. Doesn't take herself too seriously. It's just a nice chat about books. So Jo, I'd love to hear what books you haven't read and why you haven't read them. So if you fancy doing this tag, that would be really cool. And not such a newbie, but she took a long break from BookTube, which was very sensible of her, but she is now back and I haven't seen that she's done this tag. So Sid from Storytime with Sid, I am tagging you. Sid is a fellow fantasy reader. She's reading a lot of epic fantasy. She's also reading a lot of classics at the moment as well. And she's started doing some sprints. So if you fancy doing some sprints, you should go and join her. She's also got a Discord. So lots of different bits and pieces going on with her. So go and give her a little bit of love. Sid, I would like to know what you haven't read and what you really want to read. So feel free to do the tag. And also finally, tag, you are it. If you have a BookTube channel and would like to do this tag, please consider yourself tagged and tag me in it so I can hear what your answers are. You know I love a chat. If you do not have a BookTube channel but would like to answer the questions, please do in the comments. I would love to hear what classics you haven't read, what genre fictions you've not read, what non-fiction, what your oldest book is, and why you haven't read them. So get chatty in the comments because you know I love a chat. And we are on 24:23. I did it. I feel proud. Woohoo! It's under half an hour. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So happy reading, everyone, and hopefully I'll be able to pop out some more tags for you. Cannot remember if I mentioned this, but this is a tag that I should have done ages ago because it's the one that you voted for in my community tab that you most wanted to see. So here you go. Sorry it's late. But in terms of the waiting from when I was tagged by Jolene, 2 months considering my backlog of tags is pretty good going for this one, really. So, yay! Happy reading, everyone!